folks, welcome back to another episode of Mayhem in the Midsouth. Today, murder on Pamlico Road. Linda Lee Jackson was 54 years old. Our friends called her Lee. She loved sailing and she loved being around the ocean, which put her in a pretty good location because she lived near the town of Oriental in North Carolina. She wasn't too far from the ocean. Now, she'd had a companion that had died a few years before Miss Jackson's death. Now, she had a neighbor live right there beside her, and they knew each other well enough that the neighbor knew Miss Jackson had a tendency to go out and sit in her screened-in porch on the back of her house. It's Monday, August the 3rd, 2009. And about 7:30 in the evening, that neighbor, she called the sheriff's department over to Miss Lee's house at 218 Pamlico Road. Now, the neighbor, she hadn't seen Miss Lee in a couple days, and she got worried, so she went over there and she went in the house, and she found Miss Lee's body in her bedroom, and she had passed away. Now, the police get there, and whoever had killed Miss Lee had set her on fire. Don't know if that was to destroy evidence or out of meanness or what. Now, according to the ME, when he did the autopsy, Miss Lee had died from blunt trauma to the head. Now, where Miss Jackson lived, it was kind of out in the country for sure. It was a pretty desolate area. Now, there was a few houses on that road, but for the most part, it was pretty quiet. And now the resource material did state if there was what type of accelerant was used on Miss Jackson. And obviously the neighbors in the area were kind of concerned, wondering who might have done such a thing. And if not one of the neighbors, somebody that lived nearby. Was this a random act, or was it somebody she knew? There wasn't any information stated whether there was any forced entry, which obviously if there wasn't, your first thought is that Miss Jackson knew who her attacker was. Now, that fire didn't affect any other part of the house except the bedroom where Miss Jackson was found. Now, the door to that bedroom was closed. I don't know if that was normal or if that was done by the killer. Of course, by closing the door, that would only increase the likelihood that the fire wouldn't spread. Once that fire got to going in the bedroom, once all the oxygen got eaten up by the fire, it would have died out. Now, this case is unsolved, so obviously anybody that knew anything about this or might know who did it, they sure need to call the police down in Pamlico County.